The main six were gathered in Twilight's castle, their cutie marks aglow as the magical map projected an image of a faraway land. There could be no mistaking it. They were all being summoned to the dark, forbidden land to the south, Bordor. "This is gonna be awesome!" shouted Fluttershy, pumping her hoof once. "Darling, please," Rarity said, brushing her mane to the side. Applejack's smile stretched wide, threatening to break her face. She was ready. Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes at Fluttershy. "Rarity's right, you jerk. This is serious." "Darling, please," Rarity said, brushing her mane away from her face. Twilight Sparkle nervously chewed her dark blue hoof. "I don't know, girls. My brother Shiny Shield says that Bordor is a bad place. What if we don't make it out alive?" Yeah, Applejack sighed, her cheeks still wet from her hours of crying. "I don't know if I'm ready for that." "Darling, please," Rarity said, brushing her mane away from her face. "Fine," Fluttershy shouted. With a flex of her giant muscles, she flipped the table and marched out of the room, grunting and swearing. "Welcome to the panel on writing consistent characters. Let's all do better than this." So good morning, my name is Vivid Syntax, I go by Vivid. I've been writing fanfiction since The Lion King was a thing, so 94 or so. Yeah. I was like, what?
It's not anymore?
Keep the fandom alive, bro. Yeah, I've been doing it on and off. I was, I did Lion King, I did .NET, you guys remember that? Took a break for a while, and I've been writing fanfiction with Pony for about since season 2 or so. I don't know how to tell time except by my little Pony seasons anymore. It's terribly tragic. As you can see, my fellow panelist here, Chellis, he's my OC. That's why you can't see him, but he's real. He's my waifu. Please do not steal. All right, and today we're going to be talking about consistent characters. This is, having been in fanfiction for quite a while, this is something that I see. It's very important when you're writing fanfiction. There's a lot of reasons that we would care about it, because how many of you have read fanfiction before, read even, officially published novels? Oh, good. We're all on the same page-ish. As you guys know, characters, when you write them consistently, when you write them in line with the show and in a way that makes sense, it makes it for a much better story. If you're reading a story and you see, Fluttershy flipping a table or something, you know that, the author has not really done their work. It completely pulls you out of the experience, and we want to make sure that your readers never feel that. Writing is often said to be a lot like music. If you're doing it right, no one notices anything at all. Another reason that we care about consistent characters is that if you want to have a big character moment, if you want the change in your character, that really big, powerful, that I love you moment, that, this isn't working out, the characters are in perilous danger. If you want that to have an impact, you really need to establish who these characters are, so that when they get to that moment, the audience has a really good sense of, what is this character thinking? How are they feeling? How do I, can I identify with them? And if nothing else, my goal today is to make it so no one ever shouts at you again, "Oh my god, your characters are acting out of character." Alright, so what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes or so on things that I've noticed, general helpful tips that I hope you guys also find useful. I've kind of grouped it into two categories. External consistency, which is, I'm writing this character, is it matching with the show, with the comics, or whatever it is I'm emulating? And then there's internal consistency, which is, I'm writing a story about this character, I'm taking some creative license, how do I make sure that this character is the same person effectively all the way throughout? And then we'll go over just a couple of general tips. Then after that, we'll open it up, have some discussion, ask some questions as well, and a really great time. Okay, so first off, external consistency. What is it? We live in a world of fan fiction. It's pretty safe to assume that if someone is reading your story, then, well, they've probably seen the show. I don't think I've ever seen anyone that said, I stumbled upon your story, I was just Googling horses, and oh my gosh, your Verijack ship is the greatest thing I've ever seen! But there's that chance. But most people are going to be very, very familiar with the show. So, of course, artistic license is definitely allowed. You guys are allowed to take these characters, interpret them however you want. But, the characters aren't a blank canvas. There's already plenty of stuff there. If you guys were at the background characters panel yesterday, we talked a little bit about Big Macintosh and how even in the early seasons, you could discern a lot about his personality just from the little ways that he reacted. So, how do we make our characters externally consistent? First off, you know, you're gonna hate this. You have to watch a lot of Pony episodes. Shock and terror.
Just watch them in Japanese and get tired of hearing the English over.
I've never tried that. I think I'd get tired of hearing the Japanese over and over again about 4 seconds in, but that's just me. So when you're watching these Pony episodes, especially if you're watching, if you're doing a story about a character, Coco Mel or Bray Burns, characters that don't show up very often, you know, it's very important to watch those episodes a lot of times. I've got a story about Soren right now, and I've watched Rainbow Falls and Rarity Investigates probably a dozen times each by now. And there's some things that you absolutely want to pay attention to. First off is word choice and speech patterns. We all, you know, in my example at the start, we all heard, you know, Rarity saying, "Well, darling, please." I mean, there's, to a degree, every one of the characters has something that they're, you know, something they're going to say, a few little things like catchphrases. But you don't want to rely too much on that. If you start just, you know, if Rainbow Dash, all she ever says is, "This is going to be awesome, this is awesome, that's awesome," people are going to be thinking, "That's awesome," yeah. They're going to be thinking that's awesome, and also, "No, I'm leaving this, downvote, negative comment," which is absolutely the worst thing in the world. So you want to be aware of their speech patterns, what they say. Do they use sentence fragments a lot? Do they go on like big tangential, you know, stories about their past life? So you want to pay attention to what they're saying. You also want to pay attention to when do they speak up. Going back to the Brayburn example, when we see in the first trip to Appaloosa, he's being forced to talk to Little Strongheart, and he's actually really embarrassed about it. He doesn't really know what to say. He's at a loss for words. That tells you something about the character. He's not necessarily comfortable talking to you know, someone in a very, very important setting. And again, this is especially true of minor and background characters. They don't have as much screen time, but you can really dig deep and get a lot out of it. Another big thing you can do in terms of research is just read a lot of other fan fictions. A lot of people have done some really, really excellent work digging into what these characters sound like, how they act, how they react in different situations. Basically, people have already done all your work for you, so make sure you take advantage of that. You can also look at how others have translated things like the way a pony stands to the written word. You know, when you're writing a story, you can see things clearly in your head because you know you're obviously imagining the scene, but you can only communicate something to people, you know, as well as you can actually type it out. And things like posture. You know, does Rarity stand in a very dignified way? Is Fluttershy crouched down and her hair is covering one of her eyes? These are all little important details that are going to help draw the reader into understanding that yeah, this is a writer who understands what this world is like. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to adopt others' headcanons. I know how difficult that can be for some of us, me especially. There's going to be, you know, someday at the end of the series, they're going to ship Soren and Rainbow Dash together, and that will be the end of the fandom for me. But piggybacking on other people's work, it's a wonderful community, and feel free to just ask people for help. Do you guys have any questions about external consistency before I move on to the other piece of this? Any comments? Any favorite episodes? Things that show us off really well?
Well, I've never actually seen an episode I didn't like, except perhaps the Equestrian Games one. Lost all respect for Spike.
Why?
Because he had his Frank Dryden moment when he sang the class sailing.
That was absolutely painful. I actually had to turn the TV off while I was watching it.
Yeah, I mean, when Leslie Nielsen watched The Star Spangled Banner and Nicky Gunn, it was funny. When Spike badly mangled the class anthem, I was just cringing the whole time. In fact, how do you write a character like that consistently? Just make him unnecessarily bad and random the whole time.
I would never say that a character on this show is bad, per se. What was that?
Blue Blood.
No, it's a story called Glory. I forget who it's by. I think I've written that somewhere. Go look up a story called Glory, and that is an excellent analysis of Blue Blood and what it's like to be a prince in a world where that doesn't actually mean anything because he's not an Alicorn.
Yeah.
Super depressing, to be fair, but it's an excellent story. So no, Blue Blood is not a bad character. To address your question though, I think what you're kind of you might be missing is that Spike is a child. You know, he has a lot of responsibility and he does his duties very, very well. But one thing to keep in mind when you're writing him is that he doesn't have a lot of real world experience. You know, he's kind of in a little brother role to Twilight, and he wants to be helpful, and he wants to be, you know, hey Twilight, I can grab all those books for you. Yeah, I'll stay home and clean. You go and do what you need to do. Yeah, I'll come up with some sort of malicious plan to get all the gems. But that's not bad. It's informing us about his character. So I think the important thing to remember is when you're writing something like that, keep in mind where the character is in their life. Look at their flaws. Accept them for what they are. They're flaws. They're things that the character can improve on, or things that they might never improve on, and that can help you. Write them as a much deeper character. Any other comments on Spike or anything else?
It's not really that, except when he's the center of an episode, because the writers don't usually do him justice, or they don't, say enough. They don't flesh him out.
I think I will agree on this. And his episodes feel really hit or miss. Comment?
What about whenever in the main canon that they actually, like for example, in like fairly recent issues of the comics where there was all those old renegades, and everyone was talking about how all these characters were out of character, but that's still technically canon. And what do you do with those situations?
Yeah, what was that story called?
I cannot remember what it was called because I basically tried to forget a lot of it.
Wait, the one where Applejack basically went to another western town?
Another western town.
There was the Good, the Bad, and the Ponies.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ponies, thank you. For those of you not familiar, one of the IDW comics, the main six go to Appaloosa, isn't it?
It's not Appaloosa.
But Braeburn is missing, right?
No, it's not.
That was her uncle. Okay.
No, it was some new place that was just in the comics. It wasn't Dodge City, it wasn't anywhere else.
Okay.
It was just something they made up.
But I think actually Silverquill did a review of that. And so if you guys don't want to read the comics, look up Silverquill's analysis of The Good, the Bad, and the Pony. He goes deep into what can go wrong, even with the show stuff. And that's a perfect example. Like you said, people I read that. I just read the comic and just cringed. It was just wrong. They kept abandoning ponies and just leaving people to take care of their own problems and not acting at all like the main six do in the show or in the other comics. And it was still, in some respects, a fun story, but people in fandom all over it understood that something was just wrong about that.
It made Twilight worse princess. She literally stands there while Applejack's getting beaten up, so.
I can't use my magic on them.
Well,
To answer your question about how to handle that,
that's actually a problem with any story in the comics you have Twilight Sparkle in. They've got to get rid of her. It's just like in the series, they've got to get rid of Celestia and Luna and meet off the table for Twilight to do anything, for her friends or anybody else to do anything. Twilight's got to be removed, like Tori he's talking about. She came up with the BS explanation is you can't use magic against other equestrians.
Meanwhile, 3 comics earlier, she's using it to beat up a room of pirates.
And then there was the story later about the developer in the Everfree Forest where you get the elves there who are jerks, but I won't go into that one. And now we've got a story going on now where you got all the protagonists who are not villains, acting villainous because of the somber storyline. I mean, we've got Flim and Flam being villains. They're con men and sharpshooters, but not villains. Iron Will is a total villain in this thing. Even though in a previous story, he was a nice guy. He made up with everybody.
So then you got Lightning Dust, who admittedly is kind of
basically, I look at it ignore the comics if you can. I mean, if you enjoy the story,
we're going to bring it back to next time.
If
you guys want to check out the comics, highly recommend most of them. You should all read the Reflections arc at the very least, so you know who my cosplay character is. But to answer your question about how you deal with some of these inconsistencies within the canon itself, it's very hard. I mean, in that case, I think the answer is you don't try to just block that out, or don't say it was an off day and just kind of write off, because characters can have an off day too. But try to go for that happy medium. I mean, with so many different authors, writing the episodes and the comics, there's going to be little differences. And the more research you do, the more you watch these episodes and really think about, okay, how does this character react in these different situations? Both the big moments and some of the small moments, like Twilight eating a hamburger, for example. A total slob, which is just fantastic. But you can get a better sense of, you'll get a general sense, and then you'll trust yourself, and you can, and when you're editing your stories, one of the general tips I'm going to talk about is whenever I have a story and I'm doing a round of editing, I go through, I do punctuation, blah, 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 blah. I always do a read-through right at the end to see, like, okay, start to finish, are there any moments in here that completely break the character for me? Is there anything in here that makes me think, hey, Rainbow Dash wouldn't act that way, or why isn't Applejack speaking up? She would always speak up in this sort of situation. And so if you're mindful of it and you're thinking, what are these characters like in the show or the comics, that can get you a long way in writing your own stories. Any other comments on external stuff before we move on? Yes.
What was your take on Pinkie Pie and Philly Vanilli?
That's what I was just about to say.
Probably written episode.
Yeah. Okay. Amy Keating Rogers didn't even try to explain.
As a refresher, in the episode of Philly Vanilli, Pinkie Pie is just kind of a jerk.
Just something someone would gag or.
Yeah, in that episode, Pinkie Pie she keeps making things worse and worse and worse and worse for everyone involved. That's the episode where Fluttershy is filling in for Big Mac and the Ponytones.
Yeah.
And Pinkie Pie keeps making Fluttershy more nervous, and she's the one that's responsible for Big Mac losing his voice in the first place.
Yeah.
My take on Pinkie Pie in that one is, it was one of her weaker moments, but I never felt like...
It was complete.
Right, I didn't, because everything that she was saying, like Pinkie Pie is prone to going over the top. She's prone to making just massive claims and saying, this is really important. If you break a pinky promise, fear my wrath.
Like, I guess you kind of had last week coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the comeuppance that she got last week was just delicious.
Yeah.
Hey, Shellis is here.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry, I was dealing with the breakfast and some
I
secret
think it
hangover.
depends on where you put Pinkie Pie and some of the other characters. If that episode had been a season 1 or 2 episode, it would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
But she's progressed in season 1 and 2. That's the problem with Philly Vanilli.
Mm-hmm.
She had learned, in the show that she should be temperamental. In fact, if you look at the episode itself, Rarity, bumped her on the nose, and she would have picked up on that.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the problem with Philly Vanilli. It's too late. Too late in the episodes. If it had been, like I say, season 1, 2, no problem, because she had to learn, to be, temper herself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at season 5, she's tempered herself.
And one thing to keep in mind too is that, these characters do progress over time and they do learn things, but in that way I think the show is actually very true to life. It's, life is not as simple as, I made a mistake, I learned a lesson, I never make that mistake again. We see, Fluttershy is shy, that's her entire character arc. And we have to see her over and over again, kind of get past that to the point where she can actually stand up and do the right thing. I think we saw it to a degree with the Breezies, we saw it with the Dragon back in season 1. This is I think I was really, really angry at Pinkie Pie in that episode, but that to me just reinforced, oh, okay, these characters are real ponies, they're real people, real.
My wife is real, don't even start her. She's real in here, that's all that matters.
You can have her. I don't know, do you have any thoughts on Pinkie Pie in that episode?
I'm only here because I won't get fined. This is Philly Vanilli. I believe this is the one where Pinkie Pie was, I guess they were doing some musical crap.
Yeah.
Family-friendly convention.
Okay, who's here under 18? Okay, good. Well,
You did it.
all right. You guys get to learn some new vocabulary today. I'm kidding. I kid. This is the one where they're all singing and it's like, and everybody was freaking out because it was supposed to be a Beatles parody even though it wasn't. Was this supposed to be the one?
Yeah, it's on, yeah.
Yeah, find the music and you. It was kind of cute. Oh yeah, Pinkie Pie was being Pinkie Pie, and
Too much Pinkie Pie.
yeah, too much Pinkie Pie.
No, she was being in season 1 Pinkie Pie.
Yeah,
Not
which
season 3. That's
it's sort of like that innocent, happy-go-lucky Pinkie Pie that everybody just came to endear and love.
Yep.
My thoughts was it? My thought was, wow, this is such a bad hangover. Oh my God, there's a new episode today. And before I start, I just wanted to, because I'm kind of late to the game here, I got a couple of rules. If you say in my head canon, I will laugh at you and tell you to sit down. And if you're a Mithril Moth, I want you to leave this convention and think about what you do in the fandom. Anyway, that was totally not a shoot to somebody. Anyway, anybody have any more questions? Or friendship is magic.
Friendship is magic.
It's witchcraft.
I actually ran into Sherlock Holmes a couple times because they're West Coast people too. They're all right. They're good people. So yeah, where we at?
Let's talk about internal consistency for a bit, and we can open up for more random stuff.
Cool.
All right. So internal consistency. You're writing a story. You want your character to be, the same character all the way throughout. You don't want them to be crying one minute and, manic the next minute, unless that's one of the character traits, I suppose.
Or it makes a good story.
Or if it makes a good story, yes. If it's a plot, if it's a plot on blah blah blah. There's always
The
rules.
story may vary.
Your mileage may vary, yes.
Unless you have like a self-insert and then you're just writing about what you're feeling at the moment. Some sort of like a diary, but like I'm gonna make that into a story now.
A parody of high school.
No, like just write how just do a chapter every day, and then how I'm feeling. I'm just gonna incorporate that into the story.
Ooh, nice. Like a little live journal of some kind.
Basically, but I'm probably one too lazy, and two people the fanfic reviewers are not gonna be happy about that.
Yeah. All right. So how do we make our characters more internally consistent? One of the best things I found and one of the best tools I've used is what's called a character Bible. It can be, and this can come in many forms. It can be an electronic document, a written page, drawings. It's just some sort of object that exists in the physical world or something outside your mind you can reference over and over again. It's a document that lists characters' traits, history, relationships, any quirks they have, things like physical description, likes and dislikes. And I tend to prefer written pages because I can just scribble an idea of oh yeah, they are sad and they said Soren in the Rainbow Falls episode, oh, why does he roll over and take it when the Wonderbolts just abandon him and he finds out, oh, well, that's because the Wonderbolts are this way and he feels this way about them and he's been rejected before by a lot of things. And you can just, if you have this document open, you can just brainstorm and put a lot of things on the page.
I found that there's several programs that actually do that for you, that writing programs that help with that. One I use is YWriter. I wouldn't use Final Draft, mostly because it reminds me of someone I don't like in the fandom. I'm sorry. Get out of your own panel. Also, I don't like the program Final Draft because why am I paying money for something that I can just make my own?
Yeah.
But I'm too lazy to.
That's what you're lazy to do. That's how the economy works.
Right. So basically, what I'm trying to get at is there's different. Yeah, he's right. There's different ways. Electronically, you have various options. Some of them you could pay for. Some of them there's actually an app that you can use to do it. That do have all that stuff, already filled out. Bye guys. Enjoy the con. There's different programs like YWriter. Celx, I think, CELTX, it's for screenwriting. It has those kind of options where you create a character, and then it gives you all the bio, the age, and it gives you height, physical descriptions, personalities, notes, and all that, so you can organize to your heart's content.
Yeah, and it's a great place, and having these character Bibles is a great place to scroll notes and just ask yourself questions about the different characters. Are you guys familiar with Kurt Vonnegut's 8 Rules of Writing Fiction? Raise your hand if you are. Oh my goodness.
I'll just raise my hand, just make it look like I know what I'm doing.
Oh good. I highly, highly recommend you guys go Google, you can find it all over the internet, Kurt Vonnegut's 8 Rules of Writing Fiction. They will absolutely make you a better writer. What?
Give us the link!
You can't
Give us the link.
Things happen.
Give me the link right now, boy.
It's Google.
What's a Google?
What is this Google?
And that's what the
Alright. Actually, 1%, so I'm probably not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. But look it up afterwards. I can give you guys links afterwards. But one of the rules is that every character should always want something, even if it's a glass of water. That's rule number 3, I think.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Love you. You too, the one that's just walking out. Love you. Moving up in the world, I see over there. Sorry. Keep going.
No, you're not. You're not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
But it's a great place to ask these questions about your character. And the more that you just think about your character and just ask basic questions about what do they need, what do they want, just random thoughts, that helps you understand your character. And if you reference your Bible over and over again as you're writing a story or as you're about to start editing, it's a great way to make sure that you're not going to make any like giant mistakes and talk about, oh hey, my pony was raised as an only child, and then at the end of the story he's gathering with his sisters or something. Another good way to keep your characters consistent is to make sure that your characters are distinct. When you're writing, you want to have different personality types, and that's something that the main six do very, very well. Because if they're very similar, they're going to start blending together, and it's going to be very hard for your readers to keep track of who's doing what, and what do they actually like, what do they enjoy, when are they actually acting in character. You can do this both, personality-wise and with physical descriptions as well. I've read stories once where it was I don't want to call it the ultimate main six, but it was a group of ponies that were doing things, and like one of them was in a wheelchair, and so I always knew like who that pony was, and one of them was a Pegasus that had like something weird going on with her wings. I don't remember what it was, but using those kind of physical shorthand, you can help keep track of things. Yes?
The wild cards?
Wasn't the wild cards, I don't think. It might have been.
Was one a unicorn in a wheelchair?
I think it might have been her pony.
As much as I like to make a joke about that, I like to stay in this convention.
Thank you. So yeah, and again, when you're keeping your characters distinct, physical descriptions are great, but keep in mind that actions speak louder than cutie marks. If there's a character who always is walking her pet pineapple all over the place, and you're walking, and then your main character's walking down and says, "Oh yeah, there's Pineapple. She's walking her pet George." The readers will be able to remember that. A character can have a pet pineapple. Don't give me that. Aren't you glad you signed up for this? And along with the character Bible and keeping characters distinct, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of all these little details. Again, the Bible is really good for that. You want to keep track of things, like I said, with your family relations and everything, but also things like the character's mood. If they were just in utter despair at the end of the previous chapter, you probably shouldn't jump to them just being, yeah, sure, everything's fine at the beginning of the next chapter without some sort of transition. Again, you can always break some of these rules, but in general, you want to make sure that there's that continuous thread all the way throughout.
Because readers love consistency.
Generally, they do. I mean, there's, just random off-the-wall crack fix, but...
Yes.
I thought someone had a hand up somewhere?
Actually, I agree with everything you say about making character consistent, because...
Well, good. Support his Patreon.
Yes.
You know that, I'm kidding.
I actually have about, I got the idea to rewrite the series, but with more, say, about politics and diplomacy in it, to make it seem like it was actually meant for an older audience.
That's boring. Have them all go to war. Make it Game of Thrones.
Actually, it is kind of like Game of Thrones,
That's also boring.
Yeah, my point is, I have at least 50 OCs, but I managed to keep track of
Are any of them random black alicorns with dating one of the main characters?
I got one alicorn, but I made sure not to make him a complete Gary stew.
Oh, come on. Gary Stews are fun to destroy.
True! Nobody likes a character that broods over everything and improves on nothing.
I could say 100 people in this fandom that you probably all know that do that.
It might be very emotionally fulfilling for you to complain about everything, but no one actually wants to.
Well, that's why I work. That's why I'm an administrator for Horse News.
Actually, I have been reading this. Funny you should mention Game of Thrones. I have been reading the Song of Fire and Ice series. In fact, I'm almost on the 5th book. Though as I've been reading it, George R.R. Martin's writing style has kind of impacted my own. In fact, there's this one scene where I use the words moist and slit in the same sentence.
Okay, so
And moving on.
you see, this is why you shouldn't write about making pancakes now. I mean, actual pancakes. Sorry, I just had breakfast, so any more pancakes.
I had breakfast tacos at Jay's. You guys been to Jay's?
Oh my God, Jay's! I just tasted
So
Jay's.
good.
It's actually one of those. Okay, it's from Southern California, so we don't have really like home style family restaurants. Jay's is like home style family restaurants. Okay, so I walk in and they come to me, he's like, y'all, you get a smoking section? I'm looking at them like, what's a smoking section? I'm from California, everything's not smoking. What is this? Why is there a cigarette machine right there in the back of the corner? Where am I? Toto, I am not in California anymore. Where's my pumpkin spice latte? You have no pumpkin spice latte. Well, what is this place? I want to go home.
The breakfast tacos for $5. So yeah, last couple things, just a couple general tips, and then maybe some examples of stories that use consistent characters really well. Again, visit your Bible often. Just edit and think about these things. Be conscious of what your character is doing, and if you can be actively thinking about how to make your character consistent, you're already halfway there. I like looking at the character Bible right before I start writing or editing, because it helps me refresh and gets me in that zone of, oh yeah, this character really hates asparagus and threw a fit one time with her mother about it.
Actually, I forgot. What was that?
Read your Bible.
Oh, yes. A good recommendation is, there's editing, right? You do the draft, you edit, you do another draft, all that. I think that there should be a last step to it, like before you, I don't know, if you guys have editors or proofreaders sent to them, is sort of like a consistency check. What?
I need some.
Well, go ask for some. There's like groups on FimFiction that say, yeah,
There are a lot of groups of fiction.
yes, there are. Anyway, I've been owning most of them just to promote my stories, but that's not the point. The point.
Oh, you're one of those.
That's how you get 300 followers, so.
Yeah.
Um,
Or you could just write really well.
oh! Shots fired. Hang on, is your phone working?
Yeah, but you're not gonna freaking touch it.
Can you put it on YouTube for a second? I want to get a reaction to that. Hang on.
It's on. We're actually filming right now.
Oh, okay. Guy at the record.
Hi, welcome, guy who was late.
Yeah. Well, guy who's recording, can you edit this where when he says that joke, have like those kids like, oh, and the guy goes on with his face like, ah. That gif that everybody sees that I post all the time. Anyway.
We'll do it later, or we'll pay someone to do it.
Okay.
If you want to do that for us, I'd be happy to edit the story for you.
Anyway, okay, now I remember what I was gonna say. There should always be a consistency check, when you go through it one last time to say, okay, is everything consistent? The character's okay. The writing is somewhat contentable. Content check.
See, he said it too, so it must be true. I said that right before you came in.
Oh well, yeah.
Right. So the last thing I have is just a couple examples of, I think, stories that have done characters marvelously well. If you want to read something that's going to take you a long, long time, and if you haven't read it already, then shame on you, follow Equestria. Keep in mind, it's dark. It is very, very dark. But
And it's also Fallout Equestria.
It's your apocalypse, what do you expect?
yes. But that's one where the characterization is done incredibly well.
Too bad the writing was. Hi. I'm kidding, K-Cat.
There's
Love
another
you.
one there's another one that's called Flim Flam Justice by Scoots 2. This is one that takes place in the Mirror universe in the IDW comics, and it's about Flim Flam if they were not, shyster businessmen, if they were instead like judges, federal judges, and it's it's marvelous. They do.
Does one of them at least dispense shotgun justice? That's always fun.
I don't remember if they do that simply, but
There can always be a setup to a shotgun punchline. Hi, what's up?
Hi.
What was the title of that story?
Flim Flam Justice by
Hey,
Scoots
can you stand up and tip your fedora to me? Can you tip it? Come on, tip.
There you go.
Tip, my lady. Thank you.
All the buttons. All of them.
Yep. Let's see. Another one is
Who's Big Horseshoes by Backseat 72? What's that one about?
Big Horseshoes is that's one about Thunderlane and Rumble, and all it really takes is looks at the.
Hello.
It's a really good story. It's a
I've
story
heard
about Thunderlane is overworked at the weather factory, and it draws on just a little bit of the brotherly relationship. So there's not tons of stuff to draw from.
Oh, that's right, the brothers.
Yeah, the brothers. They draw from.
I thought Rumble was like some pony from Appaloosa. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
Oops.
Oopsie.
But that's a good one where it has this theme of brotherhood and it carries it through all the way through. And, that was really well done. Every Little Bit by the Descendants is a fairly recent one, I think. That's one where Rainbow Dash is up for auction, basically. Sort of. It was on the featured panel for a while.
What's this one? Together Forever by Snake Staff. Probably going to coach this for the Fields panel.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow at the Fields panel. But Together Forever by Snake Staff, that's actually a very politically motivated one, and that one takes the direction of Celestia as a tyrant, and it explores that kind of aspect really well. That one takes place, 50 years or so in the future, and it's basically Cadence versus Celestia, and it's a really good read, but another pretty dark one. And then Chillis, do you have any other ones that you recommend?
All of my stories, every single one of them. Support my non-existent Patreon because I don't have one. But anyway, I like saying that's sort of a punchline. I would recommend, I guess, just reading. Because everybody does things in their own way, and sometimes that, yes.
Mumble, friendship is magic.
I'm sorry, last night I downed 5 drinks of I don't know what concoctions were they, and they were so great. They're all fruit flavored and so cute.
I bought some more Fireball today, by the way.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a great night.
All right, so that's all that we have. We'll just open it up now for guys. Questions, comments, things that you found would work really well or want to share.
Yeah, the glasses.
What's your personal advice for trying to keep a character both consistent, but at the same time, trying to break them and build them up, or build them up?
Put them through emotional trauma for your own amusement.
Vaughn gets rule number 7, be a sadist.
Or just do it, someone to do it for you.
Actually, at one chapter in my fanfic, there's this scene where
I'm gonna probably add a rule to in my fanfic, I'll probably say that, but I'll let you slide for now.
where 600 ponies died because of a terrorist attack. So, and the person.
I love us, Nightcore.
So if you're focused on a more personal level, to answer your question, to keep them consistent, it's one of the most powerful things you can do, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more tomorrow at the Fields panel. Come to the Fields panel tomorrow.
Come to the Fields.
I don't want to cry. I'll be here.
And if it makes you feel better, I won't be there, so hey.
But one of the things you can do is, a character can still be the same. I mean, you want a character to change over the course of the story. And one of the things you can do is afterwards, after whatever big event happens, show them kind of reacting to who they were beforehand. And that'll show change, but you can show them kind of accepting, like, okay, I was younger, I didn't understand something, but they can still keep some of their same mannerisms. If they were a happy, upbeat pony before, they can still find humor in a dark situation. Are you talking about just like utterly crushing them and destroying their spirits?
No, I mean, sort of like type of breaking you get from like spending weeks or months on end alone in a dangerous place.
In that case, the thing that jumps to my mind is, start them out with whatever quirks and things they have and keep that going, but you can keep it you can keep having those diminish, and that's a good way to show, like, okay, they're being broken down slowly while still having,
they're still trying to keep to their true selves.
Exactly, yeah.
You see, I can contribute sometimes.
Yeah, do you have other advice on that?
No, not really.
Okay.
I was going to say, there was a recent episode that actually did pretty well. The one with the True Crusaders and Dr. Diara.
Oh, yeah.
No spoilers. Some people haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, well, forget them. They should watch it.
Yeah, I saw today's episode just before I came here.
I haven't seen that one, and if you spoiled me, I really don't care.
Okay.
But I don't know about this guy. But you're gonna watch it anyways. Why am I trying to hide some surprise? It's gonna happen anyway. I'm gonna watch it anyway. So.
Other questions, comments? Yes.
All right, now hear me out. Any tips for Alicorn OCs?
1, you take the Alicorn OC. 2, you get a trash can. 3, you throw it in the trash can. 4, you close the bin. And 5, you walk away. And 6, grab your waifu, which is probably Rainbow Dash, put that in the trash and walk away too. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough salt on my food today, so I'm making it up for that.
Salty. But it's true.
Okay, if you want real talk, hashtag real talk here. If you want an Alicorn OC, just don't try to make them as all perfect like the princesses. Just have her own personality quirk. Just and I swear to everything. If you make her fall in love with, or him or her fall in love with the main character, I want to slap you upside the head.
I'm not as opposed to the ships. I think it's like you said. Make sure that they have flaws. Make sure that those flaws are at the forefront, and that those flaws are the cause of some sort of conflict.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's probably your best bet.
Because Alicorn sees, like I said, give them their own character, something stand out. Because we've seen enough Alicorn seas to know that they're supposed to be all perfect.
That's what I figured with mine, like.
And they're supposed to be black and oh my god, there's such a cosplayer. Hey, what's up? No, shit, black. I gotta take a picture of that. That's so cute.
I actually wrote a story. I never published it because I didn't finish it, but it was about a girl who I wanted to just like do all the cliches at once. So it was a girl who goes to Equestria and she.
Okay, well, a girl going to Equestria that is not cliche because it's all guys going to Equestria for some damn
Okay, well, whatever. Well, girl goes to Equestria and she becomes an Alicorn.
Seriously?
Yeah, but no, that's the thing. The entire central point of the story is she goes there because she's like, oh, I'll find acceptance in this pony world, and I'll be an Alicorn, and everyone will love me. And then. Yes, but the thing is, like, and then she gets there and everyone is just like super offended, like, you made yourself a princess. That's not cool. So you can.
That's what happens. Basically, I think it was an allegory of creating an Alicorn OC on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
You just go in and make yourself a princess. Like everybody's like, oh, no. That's not how it works.
Yeah. But that's what
But I try anyway.
I found a way around that generalization.
Oh boy.
Like my Alicorn OC,
Okay. No, trash. Into the trash.
He actually goes undercover, like he has this illusion spell.
That's also a cliche. Kalala 97 does it a lot.
Everything's a
So
cliche.
but it does a good way of hiding like trying to divert both.
If you see the show,
I'm
sorry. What was it? You see the show Twilight is a princess and people still ignore her.
Yeah. Oh well, but still, it does a good job. If you ask their physical appearance, like what distinguishes them from the other races, it actually does go a long way into making them more identifiable with other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like that may just be what my experience is, but if you don't feel that way, then well, that's yours.
Well, because even in the episode against Tyrek, like at some point Twilight becomes basically a god, and they still find a way to make that compelling because she doesn't know how to handle all of her power. Like and you see her failing over and over again, even though that she could be is the most powerful being in the world at that point.
Well, she still does rip Tyrek a new one.
In a Dragon Ball Z style fight, and I just squeezed the entire time. It was, So yeah, other questions? Fedora Man.
Hi, thank you. When you're writing your OC and you're making him interact with characters that are from the show, in addition to all the tips you've given us so far, is there a sort of trick in the first encounter that is sort of like a requirement, I guess you could say? Like when you introduce your OC into an MLP fan fiction, and you're having that OC meet the main six for the first time, what are some like base standards?
I think.
Don't make them fall in love within the first 5 seconds.
Or you can just don't make them be like, hey, you're the greatest friend ever. Come on, let's go get lunch right away.
Or you're the greatest friend ever. Hey, let's go back to my place.
No. I think one of the best ways to look at that, if you look at the actually first episode, the way that it's done kind of sequentially, where Twilight meets the rest of the main six in their own, give it lots of time, and don't be afraid to have your character walks past Rarity, tries to get her attention. Rarity is too busy and is freaking out about her dress or something. You can have that first meeting not go perfectly.
Or even have them hate them, and then slowly earn their trust and confidence and friendship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think just take your time is probably the biggest.
Don't rush things.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
To touch on that part again, usually the best option is have the first character they meet be Pinkie Pie, because as a character, she's excited to meet absolutely everyone.
Or just switch it up and give it to Rarity and have her just like, well,
90% of the time, she will be the first character. She will seek your character out.
Yeah.
You're you.
First. She's the only one who
Yeah, but she's all stuck in the background. You have to walk to the background.
Language.
Gladly. Oh yeah, the kids are
Yeah,
here. All right, I'm free. All right.
Other questions?
That guy over there. Ponyville Live.
I had a second thing. Speaking of something that I see rather often in the fan fictions that I've read, and I've read too many of them, and it's starting to affect my life.
Right.
But amnesic characters I have a problem with because they don't act like.
You got a problem with people with medical conditions? What?
I think what you're getting at in terms of amnesia, it can sometimes be a plot contrivance. I've read some amnesiac stories. I think it's usually a sign of a writer who is usually pretty new, and it's a way. I think a lot of people rely on it because it's a shorthand to not have to deal with these issues of consistency. It does turn the character into a blank slate, and so no one can accuse them of that. If you're beginning writing, or if you're not super confident about your ability to write characters, do what you gotta do. I would encourage you though to experiment a little bit, and you're gonna screw up sometimes. People are gonna call you out on it. That's how you become a better writer. So.
One example of an amnesic thing that was interesting is having myself, I've known a friend who was hospitalized and had a amnesic state for a little while, and you don't start asking people, oh, who are you? I don't know you. When somebody you don't know comes walking into the room and acts like they know you, you try not to be rude. You're like, oh, hey, guy. Nice to see you too.
I do it all the time. I have so many friends here in the fandom that I forget who's who, and it's like, oh wait, you're not him? Shoot.
One other thing to keep in mind, with just side note, sort of pet peeve of mine, again on this subject of research, if your character does have some sort of medical condition or you're dealing with it, make sure you're treating that condition respectfully. I've seen a lot of fictions where someone gets
a plot device.
it's used as a plot device, and it's just it's just used.
Very disrespectful, and it doesn't deal with good writing anyway.
Yeah. So when you're torturing ponies,
Even the adult fics that deal with it is not even that great.
I think we had a question over here. You had a question?
What's up?
Yeah. So how do you write a consistent OC character without pretty much saying that if he does something that normally be considered out of character, you don't just say that, well, I'm the one who created him, so he does that because I did.
I kind of want to say this respectfully, but where were you listening the entire time? I'm sorry, just kidding.
No, OC, there's some really good OC stories. I think the character Bible again is just your best tool, because then you can. And the nice thing about it is that it changes over time. If you are writing something and it doesn't seem to be working out, change it in your document and see how that changes everything else. So again, as long as you're being aware of things, as long as you're recording it somewhere so that you can look at it and see your own thought process, I think it definitely applies to writing OCs. Other questions, comments?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on less common races, like bad ponies, sea ponies, or ponies like that?
Pony Pride or what? I'm sorry, what?
I like them. Are you in terms of
like using them as main characters, side characters in a different setting, or a different town, different equestria, something like that? Do they follow along with alicorns?
I think there's an interesting
Actually, different races are actually considered a little more accepting actually than more alicorns, because it not only when you write about OC stories about different races, not only do you throw in the aspect of dealing with another culture, but you're also dealing with another aspect of, hey, there's other worlds in this series that weren't touched upon, but were mentioned but not really touched upon. There's the element of world building, and a lot of people love world building because it's another world.
I think another thing too is when you're writing about these other races, you come against an interesting challenge that I think not a lot of people are aware of. Take sea ponies for example. There's not much about them in the show.
They're reliable.
They're reliable. But there's not a lot about them. But people coming into them are going to have some preconceived notions about them. They resemble mermaids. So anyone who's familiar with mermaid mythos is going to think of them in that line. So in some sense you can kind of do whatever you want, but in another sense, there's still going to be some preconceived notions about whatever race you pick. So I think just be aware of that, but feel free to experiment, because when you have something that hasn't been explored much, that's why we have this fandom, is to explore all these other things going on in this world.
I don't think the brownie fandom can explain a lot of things in this world.
We can make up our own world. It'll be better. With ponies and colors everywhere.
Okay, how about Wingman over there?
What? Oh, me?
Yes.
Sorry, that was another question. Now that they brought up bat ponies, I've heard them be called thestrals before. Does anybody know if there's an official name besides bat ponies?
Hot.
That and...
They on fire, baby.
That and...
No, I'm serious. They're hot. They're like exploding in the way of they're really being really popular.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Thank you, Seth. You awkward little fun bag. I do like Seth. He's a physical dude.
I've heard them called Thestrals. I think Thestrals or Bad Ponies is fine.
Oh, hey, that OC that looks like Charlie. I swear she looks like Charlie.
She does.
Guys, the age of Harry Potter is over. We don't have to call them that anymore.
No, I'm still writing my Harry Potter fanfic, so no. Where Harry's the baby daddy of I can't even. Like, one guy, Roar. And the joke died.
But I think we have about 10 minutes left or so.
It did out faster than every network.
Yes.
Shameless self-plugs, go!
We can do shameless self-plug.
Let's see. There's a shameless plug there. There's a shameless plug there. And I think the phone technically has a phone jack, so that's also a shameless plug.
It's jacked up.
Oh, get out. That wasn't very punny.
That was awful.
You deserve punishment.
That was worse.
I just say that people are already looking at us right now. Hi.
I don't mean to pontificate, but I think we should.
Lord Almighty.
Good questions?
How would you suggest if you have any advice on scanning your hybrids?
Hybrids. What's that? Give an example.
Dragon ponies, Asian hybrids, something like that.
Kalala, please.
No. Don't be mean.
I'm kidding. You know Kalala Raisa? And she did those next generation OCs, and she has like Rarity and Spike had a little kid. Yeah, adorable as hell.
Yay, those are awesome.
Shut up.
Family friendly.
Not anymore.
To actually answer your question, I think with hybrids, I mean, if a character's a hybrid, there's going to be some sort of conflict. I think inherent with that of which world they belong to. So I mean, make sure you write that into your character. It doesn't have to be their entire character arc, but it's going to definitely be a piece of it.
That 100%. And also, don't try to generalize everybody in a sense. Have some people that like the hybrid, because and then there's others that don't, because freaks. And then there's the weird group that's like, oh yeah, she's hot. Or he's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, if you've read some LGBT fanfiction, there's a lot of them that are like, you read a story about like someone who's secretly, LGBT, and everyone hates them, and that's not how the real world works.
The real world, how, at least in California, how it works is like, oh really? Okay, cool.
People are complicated. Question?
Kind of go with my first full circle in the whole D&D references earlier.
Perfect.
What?
In D&D, half orcs and half elves had the exact same problems. Looking at those is a good way to look at it.
I am angry about elves.
I rolled a 20.
Whoa, what did you roll that for?
I rolled because I always roll this. Because I need to make sure. I need to see if the panel is going to go well.
Well, what does the 20 say?
You should have been on time.
I'm sorry. I had to deal with all that alcohol, and there's the J's, and oh my god.
You're still slurring your words.
I might still have alcohol in my system from last night. It was a raging party. It was not a penalty, by the way. No, come here. Get Leon, come here. Get that guy in here.
What? So, Chelsea is freaking out. We're about out of time. Again, my name is Vivid Syntax. If you guys want to come up and talk about how to write consistent characters, want some help editing with something, feel free to come talk to me. I'm giving the Feels panel tomorrow at 12:30, so please come to that.
My name is Chalice. I write an administrator for Horse News. I'm also a fanfic writer myself. Chalice. It's Chalice. You want to come say hi to me or give me your number? You're more than welcome to.
And I have business card.
So fancy.
Right.
Hey guys, check it out. New card. What do you think? It's even got a watermark. No, American Psycho? No? Okay.
I know that's a great song.
It was the greatest thing ever. What are you doing?
Now it's awkward. All right. That's all we have, guys. Thank you. Feel free to come stay for a little while longer and enjoy the rest of the convention.
Yay!